The new CPI data came out yesterday showing a year-over-year increase of 4.2%, which is a 3-year high. And Donald Trump said he loves it. Here, check Trump out.
Sir, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning, could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, you know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now.
Inflation to come down between now
Oh, when the war is over?
Yes.
It's coming down.
I know you can't.
It's going to come down like a rock. And
So Donald Trump said that he loves the inflation and it's going to drop as soon as the war is over. But I don't think this is true because I did a video a couple months ago showing that inflation was actually trending up before the war started. You know, the February Producer Price Index, which is a leading indicator of inflation, was already up significantly in February, and that was before the conflict with Iran started up. So inflation was already trending up. And maybe the only reason that it will come down is that the new Fed chairman, Kevin Warsh, he wants to change the inflation gauge. He wants to use the trimmed mean calculation of the PCE, which is different from the ordinary CPI calculation. Now, there's a bunch of different ways of calculating inflation. The Fed likes to use the PCE, which underreports it relative to CPI. And the reason that they want to have lower inflation is because it creates more flexibility for the Federal Reserve for their monetary policy. And it's better for the government overall. You know, it helps keep their payments lower on their TIPS, which are Treasury inflation protected securities. It helps keep the cost of living adjustment for Social Security recipients down. So there's all sorts of reasons that the government would like to keep reported inflation down. But this video is not about inflation. It's about Donald Trump's reaction. He's tone deaf. Like, they're asking him about, you know, inflation being back at a 3-year high, and Donald Trump says, "Oh, I love it." And you know, he talks about things like, "Oh, you know, the stock market's at a high, and 401ks are up." A lot of people in America don't have any stock. They don't have 401ks or any of that. And one of the only reasons that 401ks and stock valuations are up anyway is because of inflation. It's because you've debased the currency to the point that all of those things are trending up. That's why some people are calling for a market melt up instead of a meltdown, because they could just see that the prices of stocks and other assets are just going to keep going up and up and up. But basically, what is Donald Trump doing? You know, this is very similar to his reaction when he was asked about negotiations with Iran, and he said that he doesn't think about Americans' financial situation at all. Check that out.
You're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President. To what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody.
Did you say earlier that the only thing that matters to you when it comes to Iran is a nuclear weapon? You're not considering the financial impact of this war on Americans?
The most important thing by far, including whether our stock market, which by the way is at an all-time high, but including whether or not our stock market goes up or down a little bit, the most important thing by far is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
What about the pressure on Americans and prices right now?
Every American understands.
So Donald Trump keeps making these statements that show that he is just very out of touch with your average American, especially those of us that are working hard, just trying to tread water to keep up with the rising cost of living. And it's getting harder and harder. And most of us don't care about what's going on in the Middle East. You know what I mean? Like, prior to what was going on, you know, the Strait of Hormuz was open. They didn't have a nuke. You know what I mean? Like, what is all of this about? The only result that we've really had out of this Iranian war so far is that the cost of everything has skyrocketed. So that's what I mean. Inflation was going up. The Iran war exacerbates it. And all of Donald Trump's, the people that are still clinging on to this whole MAGA concept or this idea of MAGA, they're following Donald Trump off of a cliff. They keep talking about how Donald Trump's endorsed candidates are doing so well in the primaries. Yeah, they're doing so well in the primaries because it's it's Republican versus Republican in those primaries. We see where Donald Trump's picked candidates are doing well against other Republicans. But you know who else's endorsed candidates are doing really well? Bernie Sanders. So you got Bernie Sanders candidates doing well in primaries against other Democrats, and you've got Donald Trump candidates doing well. So when they meet in November for the general elections, and you've got Donald Trump saying all these things like, I don't care about Americans' financial situations. I love inflation. I love the cost of living going up. What is this, like Jocko Willink? Like, good. They're like, Mr. President, you know, the cost of living is going up. He's like, good. I wanted everything to be harder on Americans. You know, like, so Donald Trump is setting the Republican Party up for failure. And at this point, I don't even care because the Republican Party is a joke. And the fact that they claim to be about the Constitution and free markets is very misrepresentative of what the Constitution and free market capitalism actually is. So just think about that. In the general elections in November, you're going to have a bunch of these people that have really, you know, oh, I'm with Donald Trump, supporting this very unfavorable war going up against these populist, socialist, you know, commies that Bernie Sanders backed that are just promising the world to everybody. They're like, oh, yeah, you know, Donald Trump's out of touch. He doesn't understand the pain that you all are feeling. But, you know, we do. We want to have more socialism and just give you all stuff for free, because a lot of those people, they don't understand really how the economy works, but they like the idea of it. They like the appeal of a Bernie Sanders type candidate. So just remember this in November when you see all of these Trump-aligned candidates going down to a bunch of socialists and there's a blue wave coming through. It will be Donald Trump's fault. It won't be, don't blame Candace Owens. Don't blame Dave Smith. Don't blame Thomas Massey. Don't blame Marjorie Taylor Greene. You can thank your savior, Donald Trump, for telling everybody that he loves inflation and that he doesn't care about the financial situation of Americans or even consider them when making decisions about unconstitutional wars. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment.